Facts Verse presents. Dad invites this unexpected guest to daughter's wedding. Each year, there are over 2 million weddings in the United States. Every bride that gets married wants her day to be perfect. They want the perfect dress, the perfect venue, beautiful weather, and a stress-free day. That's precisely what a woman named Kristen hoped for her wedding. She had no idea that there was a huge surprise in store for her on her big day. Kristen grew up with an amazing and loving family. Her mother and father adored her from the second she was born. They always wanted the best for their little girl. Growing up, she was obsessed with Disney movies. She loved the happily ever after in movies like Beauty and the Beast, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty. Her favorite Disney movie of all time was The Little Mermaid. Growing up, she always wanted to have a happily ever after the way Ariel did. Kristen met Chris in 2014. The pair happened to be visiting the same city at the same time, and on a rainy day their paths crossed. When the two got to talking, they discovered they had a lot in common. They both loved to ski, loved snowboarding, and many other of the same activities. He had no idea where Kristen was from, but he knew he had to see her again, so he asked her on a date. She said yes, and the date was magical. Kristen says that Chris made her heart skip a beat every time he smiled. The two said goodbye to one another, but they agreed to stay in touch. The first date was so great they were both willing to try a long-distance relationship after just a single date. The distance between Chris and Kristen apparently didn't cause them to drift apart. Instead, they grew closer. They became excited every time they got to see one another. They spent hours on the phone and visited one another every chance they got. They grew closer and closer every day. They were truly in love. Chris knew that Kristen was the one for him, so he bought a ring, got down on one knee, and asked her to be his bride. Kristen didn't need to think about it at all. She said yes immediately, and soon she was dreaming of her wedding. She'd been dreaming about her wedding since she was a little girl, but now, finally, she was going to have the wedding of her dreams. When the happy couple's parents found out that they were engaged, they were thrilled as well. Kristen's father was especially excited. He'd always dreamed of walking his little girl down the aisle, and now he'd have his chance. He wanted to make sure her wedding was perfect. Kristen and Chris, they were excited about their wedding, but they were also a bit stressed. There were a lot of plans to be made, and it was a bit overwhelming. As the wedding planning began, the couple realized they were going to need a large venue. The guest list continued to grow, so they began looking for larger places to do it. They finally settled on the Icona Gold Inn, located in Avalon, New Jersey, which was a beachfront hotel. That meant that they could get married on the beach and have a reception inside. Kristen's father knew that she hated surprises, but he had to do something special for his daughter's wedding. All he could think about was her love for Disney movies, and that got him to thinking. He had an idea, but he didn't know if he could pull it off. Kristen's father knew that Little Mermaid was her all-time favorite movie. Well, after doing a little bit of research, he found out that the actress who gave The Little Mermaid her voice was Jodie Benson. He thought if he could get Jodie to sing at his daughter's wedding, then it would be the fairy tale wedding she'd always dreamed of. Since he had no contacts at Disney, he would have to work really hard to try and get in touch with Miss Benson. Even if he could get her to do a video chat, that would be fantastic. Turned out Kristen's father was able to do more than that. Finally, Kristen's wedding day arrived. The ceremony went off without a hitch, and Kristen and Chris were finally husband and wife. As they headed to the reception, Kristen had no idea of the surprise her father had in store for her. At the reception, the best man and the maid of honor gave their speeches. And when they were done, Kristen's father took the mic and told Kristen how much he loved her. Next, he started walking toward the door of the venue with mic in hand. Kristen had no idea where her father was going, and when he opened the door, a woman was standing there. Kristen didn't recognize the woman. She wondered why her father would invite a stranger to her wedding. It was Jodie. He handed Jodie the microphone, and she began to sing Part of Your World, which was one of Kristen's favorite songs from the movie. She couldn't believe it. She really did have a real-life fairy tale wedding. Subscribe for more.